Welcome to breaking down the song. This time I actually have the Shoy with me. We're gonna go over how we piece together closer together. When he originally sent me this, it took me some time to figure out exactly where I want to take this, but once I got into the vibes of it, I just knew it had to be a Caribbean song. So say what's up, the Shoy, my man the Shoy, the man on the steel pan.
What's
What's
up,
going on,
brother?
bro?
Yarley, how you doing, bro?
I'm all good. I'm all good. Chilling out the east, and I know you're killing it on the west side. So together, we vibe out and we make something happen. So tell everybody about the steel pen. Like, I really want to know the history of you and the steel pen. Like, give me that in depth.
Well, I'm glad you asked because not a lot of people know much about the steel pan.
Yeah.
They always see it, they heard it, but they're not quite familiar with it.
Yeah.
So the steel pan been around since the late 1930s, early 1940s, pretty much during the Second World War.
Wow.
Um, During those times, we were in colonial times, so we were under the colonization of England.
Gotcha. And tell everybody where you're from too, because when you hear colony, I'm from Haiti, so tell everybody where you from.
Man.
Yeah.
What? I always gotta say respect to my Zols, everyone, my Haitians.
Oh yeah.
If it wasn't for you guys literally set the precedent for us to liberate ourselves and become independent.
Yeah.
So shout out to all my Haitians, man. Y'all literally blazed the way for our independence to fight up, stand up against, the colonizers and stuff. And,
that was all God's plan. No, that was all God's plan.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly, man. So even though we were colonized, we had a lot of freedom.
Yep.
But some restrictions. And I say restrictions meaning that some of the Africans who were there, because I don't like to call them slaves, they were just Africans who was enslaved. Yep. So the Africans who were there, they were under a lot of colonial laws, of course, you're under a new colony, so you have to they were literally stripped of all their African heritage, right? Yeah. And then the Queen Elizabeth, she made a law banning the playing of drums in the island, right? So a lot of the Africans, what they would do is they would gather deep in the forests or in the bushes, and that's how they would continue their practices. So they would pretty much will have to hide behind closed doors and play the drums and do their offerings and their prayers and stuff, due to the colonization. Gotcha. Now, with this law in place, a lot of the youths found themselves in at odds with the law. Yeah. So fast forward to the Second World War, the U.S. Navy used to dock on our shores. Mm-hmm. I think they had a base out there. What they would do is, after they oil the vessels up with the gas or whatever, the empty oil barrels, they will discard it and throw it on the side of the shores, right? So some of the youths, and when I say some of the youths, I'm talking about the pioneers like, what's his name? Oh my gosh. Ellie Manette, Rudolph Charles. I know I'm forgetting a lot of them, but there's a lot of like the pan players who was like from ground zero starting. They would take these drums, and they would beat on them, make rhythms and stuff. And one particular youth, Ellie Manette, he said that he had a drum, and he beat on the drum so much that the drum started to get dense. Yeah. And he also noticed that with the different dents, they had a different pitch and tone. Mm-hmm. So that's how it started to evolve. And it's like, okay, they're onto something. So as time progressed, they always had to be hiding. They always used to be, at odds with the law. And then on top of that, due to the fact that the law banning playing drums, people who were caught playing drums or associated with any kind of drum were considered social outcasts,
Gotcha. Yeah.
or like, like Norwegians or thugs, or people who just don't care. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or degenerates per se. Like that's what
Yeah.
So it was a lot of stipulation. So with that being said, like a lot of you know the citizens of Trinidad, even them was not fond of the instrument in the early stage, because they always see, it's always a stereotype. You see someone playing a steel pan, or like how they say in America, a steel drum.
Yeah.
You're like a thug, or you have to know you're a vagabond, So that was the stereotype. Yeah, literally, that was the stereotype.
Yeah.
So while that was going on, it was hard for them to find funding or even to be considered, as talent. But they persevered, and eventually one of the government officials decided to send them to England to study with this engineer. And that's where they started to learning how to like manipulate the harmonics in the metal to give it a more pristine sound.
Yeah.
Because if you were to compare how the steel drums sounded back in the day compared to now, it's black and white.
Yeah.
And just like with everything changes, as time goes by. So they found themselves always, they find different ways to innovate the instrument. Like the one guy, Ellie Manette, he's the one who's responsible for the modern pan that I play, the one that's all chrome. He was able to invent the spiderweb pan with all the notes inside that looks like literally looks like a spiderweb.
Yeah.
So I say all that to say, when people ask me about the instrument, they think that I'm only limited to one key, like the hand pan. But the only limitation I have is I have one octave up, but I have all the sharps, all the flats, everything you could find in the musical language, I could play it on that instrument.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know what sharps are, it's really half a step higher than any particular note. There are 12 different notes in a scale. You have 8 notes typically within a scale, 7 actually, but you can go across 12 different notes against different like sharps and flats inside of one particular octave. So therefore, you have 12 different scales you can go throughout the musical language and such. And let me ask you, all this was in Trinidad, right? Like when
all this was in Trinidad, yes. Yeah. All this was happening in Trinidad.
Okay.
What they used to do is, how the drum has like a belly?
Yeah.
For the drum. Before they used to use hammers and like cannonballs, again from cannonballs, and that's how they used to sing the drum.
Gotcha.
And then they would draw the lines to draw the notes, and then they'll use a chisel to concave around the notes to make the notes pop out like that.
Man, when I tell you genius, like and this all happened by accident, like your creativity behind a lot of people, it's amazing how accidents turn to actually artistry and helps really evolve to the instruments that we have today. The instrument that I'm dominant like at playing is the saxophone. That's where I started. And even that too, I'm sure happened through an accident. I have not looked into the history of it, but I'm sure, you inspired me to actually go dig that up and actually figure that out.
Man, it's an honor, bro. Like Nipsey, rest in peace. He say the best human act you can do is inspire, and I'm telling you, bro, I just want to inspire people to just be the best way for themselves, man.
And you do, and you definitely do, and you definitely do. I'm gonna play a quick snippet of exactly what you did. Like in here, because I have the sample, and I'm gonna let everybody hear exactly what you sent me. It had without all the effects and everything in its raw form. I got it up. All right, there you go. This is what Shoy sent me, and then I added all the other stuff after. Right? So that's that. And that's how this all evolved and it came to be. It all stemmed from the steel sample that he sent me. But man.
And let me tell you something about that sample. I recorded it right here in the studio when I just started in tuning.
Oh, right? Wow.
I just started interning, and I'm not gonna lie, I was in a weird space in my life at that time.
Yeah.
I was going through a really rough transition
Yeah.
personally, and talking to you because at the time I knew my calling was music. I always felt my calling was music ever since I was a child, you know. I just never knew what it was. So I started, you know, I get bit by the producer bug, you know. And at the time when I did that, I wanted to be a producer, right? So I had to I had to sneak in and record that before, because we had a session coming in.
Yep.
Bro, I kid you not. I literally went in there, I snuck in. I was like, you know what? I got a couple minutes. Let me just knock this out, because I remember you saying, like, bro, don't forget me. And I keep putting it off, you know. But again, mentally, I just wasn't feeling inspired to create. But then I said, you know what? Let me just do it, man. Let me just get this out the way. So I just went in the studio. I did that. And I was like, you know what? I think you like this, man. You know?
I sure did.
You, bro. And then here we are today, bro.
Yeah. Nah, it's amazing from where like this came out to be. I think I worked on the track probably in 2019. I think you sent it to me that same year, but it took me a little bit of time too, because just like you had to get the inspiration, I needed to get. I know I liked it, but I didn't know where I wanted to take it. So I think 2019 was when we completed the track, but then it took until 20. Yeah, I think that same year too, I met Oria, and that's where she was vibing out to the song, and she wanted to write on this. I was like, girl, this is perfect. So this is now really becoming into life, and we're gonna chat with her too. I'm gonna let you guys get a sneak peek on her whole creative side in terms of how she put together the lyrics on a different session that we're gonna talk about. But no, you inspired me as well. Like when it comes to that, and I'll be seeing you on the street jamming out as well, showcasing to different people. It's pretty inspirational to see how you connect to people, and I'll be seeing the crowds that you draw in the street sometimes. But yeah, tell us about that actually, like how.
Well, bro, street performing. All right, like I said, actually, I believe I sent that to you in 2017.
2017, yeah.
Yeah, that's how long it was. Bro.
Yeah, it took some time. 2019 is actually when I recorded. You were right. You sent it in 2017. I think I worked on the track in 2018. Or the end of 2017, and 2019 was when I recorded this with Oria. You were right, because I had a studio at that time, and I know in April is when I moved out at that point, so it couldn't have been in 2019. And I know I recorded that song over there. Yeah.
So like I said, man, again, I was going through a rough transition personally.
Yeah.
I was at a crossroad in my life where it was like, you know what, I realized that I have to do what I gotta do to look out for me, and I can't rely on anyone.
Right.
So I decided to take that step out, and I was like, you know what, I need money, I'm broke, man, I was homeless, you know, I was just grinding, bro. But by the grace of God, my needs was always met, and God always put people in my life to look out for me when I needed it. See?
Yeah.
So I said, you know what, man, I don't know what I'm doing, bro, but I just gotta get some money. So I had the steel band.
Yeah.
I had the little speaker, and I said, you know what, I could go right down Hollywood Boulevard and just see how much money I could make.
Yeah.
So I did it. Couple of days, and I made a few bucks, and I felt good. I made like $30-$40. Like when you broke, that's like a lot. Doing something you love.
Could imagine, yeah.
Yeah, man. So then I said, you know what? Maybe if I treat this like a 9 to 5, let me see how I could do. And I went out there one night and I made double, and I was just like, yo, I made this in 2 hours, bro. Like I felt rich in a sense, because throughout my years working all the 9 to 5s I've worked at, which I'm grateful for, I never felt that I was paid what I was valued, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, like there've been times when I would get my paycheck from my 9 to 5, I look at it and feel like, bro, I just got robbed, bro. You know what I'm saying? So me seeing me just being myself and making double in between the less time, I was like, you know what, I'm on to something. So then I decided to just go out there early and treat it like a grind, like a 9 to 5. And,
Yeah.
from there, um, like I said, my living situation was really, really messed up. So I had to, what you call it? I had to, I was renting a little room in a hotel right off of Hollywood Boulevard. I was
Yep.
paying like $275 a week, just grinding, bro.
Yeah.
Um, but but again, bro, I just remain consistent with it. There've been times where I didn't feel like going out, and I just go out there. Sometimes I do good, sometimes it ain't as bad.
Yep.
So pretty much I got my start on Hollywood and Highland, and then some of the other performers, like and if you ever been to LA,
Yeah.
in Hollywood Boulevard in particular, you will notice a lot of people dress up like movie characters or animation.
Yep.
What they would do is they would take pictures and ask for donations. So one of the guys, he used to dress up like Zorro. So he was like, "Look, bro, you need to be in Santa Monica, bro. Like that's where all the money's at." And I was like, "Santa Monica?" He's like, "Yeah, bro. That's all the tourists like." I'm not gonna lie to tell y'all. I'm gonna let y'all, the viewers see for yourself. When y'all come to LA, it is ratchet as, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It is good. It ain't nothing like you see on TV. Forget all that perception is nothing. It's just TV. So yeah, and there've been a couple incidents that happened where I felt like I had to. Like literally, I had to defend myself. Like people would try to punk me. Like one time, this guy came and he took some money onto my bucket, but luckily enough, I knew one of the OG performers that I'm cool with. So when I told the OG, he like literally hemmed him up like, "Yo, don't mess with this guy, bro. He don't be messing with nobody, bro. Don't be, you know what I'm saying?" So yeah, all the hustlers, all everybody out there, they rock with me, man.
That's a blessing. Beautiful.
Yeah, and so I always had that sort of protection. And then the thing with me is like, I'm out there, I'm here to make my money. I ain't trying to bother nobody. I ain't trying to step on nobody's toes. Like, there've been instances where I'll set up and someone be like, "Yo, bro, we hustling over here. Could we go up?" I'll move up. I don't want no problems, bro.
Yeah.
None. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no ego, nothing, bro. So I say all that to say that I got tired of always having to look over my shoulder when I'm playing. Even though I'm in a zone, I had to kind of look over my shoulder because you never know what's going to pop off.
Yeah.
So I went to Santa Monica, and the difference between there and Santa Monica's pier is you have to have a permit. You got to pay the city a fee. They give you a permit, and they have a raffle system to get the spots. You can't just go there and set up. So I like that format better, where it was more organized, it's much more safer. Santa Monica, the city is much more affluent. So yeah, man, I remember the first time I went out there, I cleaned up, man. I cleaned up. And yeah, man, since then I've been doing that. But I always had this thought in the back of my head. I always said that even though I'm street performing and I'm doing well, I don't see myself making a career out of it.
Yeah.
I have bigger aspirations. Again, not looking down, because there are some dope performers who've been doing it for years, and that's how they have families. That's how they support themselves. Actually, one of my good friends, Flash, he plays the sitar. When I just started coming out there, he told me, he asked me how old I am. I was, my late 20s at the time.
Yeah.
And then he was like, "Look, man, you can make a living doing this. You just gotta be smart with your money, and just gotta invest in yourself, invest in your sound. When people hear you, that's what's gonna inspire them to hire you. If they can't hear you, they're not gonna hire you. Because again, like I told you, I just had the drum and a little Bluetooth speaker.
Yeah.
So luckily enough, I had some money saved up, and I used that money to buy a bigger speaker. I buy a microphone. I bought a mixer just to project my sound. And literally, the same day I bought it, I went out the same day to perform, and I made triple.
Wow.
I made triple than what I usually make. So everything paid back for itself.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. And then again, just grinding, through the highs, through the lows. There been some rough times. There been some times where I come out and I only make $1. I'm telling you, bro, I only made $1, and that shit is so depressing, bro. So depressing.
I could
Um,
imagine, but still,
yeah, bro.
it's
They've been
just
one time I was performing on the tail, especially during the winter time when it's cold and
yeah.
windy. Man, one time man, I had some money in my pocket and a gust of wind blew all the money in the water, bro. I'm telling you, bro. I've been through it all, bro. Like,
Jeez.
yeah. So, but I won't change anything, man. You know, it
Yeah.
was fun. You know, it was
You
fun.
love it. You love it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and this is just to share with you, like the passion always should supersedes the current situations and circumstances that you're dealing with. And your testimony is definitely like similar to mine. So you gotta be persistent in your grind and everything that you're doing, despite not seeing where you're going to be. Invest in yourself. Invest in the things that you want to do. Eventually, it's gonna come to be. You don't know how it is. That's just how God works. But showing him that you're faithful, He's gonna partner up with you and say, since you are faithful, I am gonna provide it to you, and be patient with me as well, because it's gonna be at the right time, at the right moment. So hearing that is just pretty inspiring.
Yeah,
And
man. Like we all on this journey together, man.
oh yeah,
We all on this journey. You know, it's
oh
like
yeah,
life. So many lessons, so many winding roads. Like
oh
it's
yeah,
not straight and narrow, bro. It's always a dip, a curve somewhere, man. But like
yeah,
rough seas make great sailors.
exactly,
Imagine
exactly,
if you go through your life is just smooth sailing all around. Like
right.
my good friend Alan, my brother actually, he was saying that struggles builds character.
Oh yeah,
Everybody's struggling with something, even people with money.
yeah,
Everybody's struggling with something to
hmm
attain something. So you know, um, yeah, that's how we come our strength. That's how we develop our strength. And just to expunge it a little bit more is things don't get easier; we only get stronger.
yeah, yeah,
Like the things that was bothersome to us yesterday is
hmm
not as bothersome today because we know how to deal with it.
hmm
You know.
yeah. It builds that experience and everything. Isn't it so true? And this is just encouragement for you to know that when things are not happening according to how you want them, and you're going through tough situations, tough times, that you got to take this as a lesson to build up yourself up, to build your character and prepare you for next season into your life. And you don't know when that next season is going to be, but just know that when it comes around again, you're going to be so much prepared for it, and you're going to appreciate it a lot much more. So me, I always get happy when people do certain things to me, and I see that it either causes a backlash. I just get really excited when things did not work out the way that I intentionally intended for it to work out, and I had to go through like a rough patch or something that was disappointing, right? It only leads to me to be able to look elsewhere and reshift, pivot my position, and to see where God is really gonna take me next. But I always get excited when these things happen. So instead of being sad, upset, like get more excited when things are not going according to plan, according your way. Because as long as you're persistent, just know that there's a bright sunshine with rainbows coming down to you. You just don't know when. So stay faithful. But yeah,
Yes, sir.
bro.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, and I really appreciate you sharing like your entire journey, your entire experience. Me and Troy, by the way, we went to audio school together. That's how we met way back. That school closed down. It used to be called IAR, Institute of Audio Research. We both graduated. It was fun times. Met so many peers. Had so much great journeys. A lot of great instructors. Pretty legendary folks in there that worked with like all your hits that we've been privileged enough to learn from and everything. It was expensive too. I think in tuition we paid
Yeah.
like 17,000.
17,000,
Yeah,
man. 17,000 for a semester,
yeah,
man.
for like 9 months. 9 months.
Yeah, student loans, bro.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I hustled and grind. I did not know how I was going to pay initially for that thing. I applied for the scholarship
Yeah.
and the financial aid, and I was able to get about I think 11,000 covered with that, right?
Mm.
And then the remainder of it, I had money saved up from a CD account that I had opened like maybe a couple years. Like as soon as I got out of high school, I think I put money in there, and it grew. So I took that money and piled it on there too. And then at the end I had like probably a $3,000 balance. I did a payment plan with them, and literally within like 5 months or 6 months, I paid off the remaining balance, man. But it was a tough.
Man, let me tell you how I got in that school, man. So I was just fresh off the boat, like literally fresh off of Trinidad. My accent is thick. I do not know anything about America. All I know is Trinidad. I was 21, right?
Yep.
So, man, I remember my mom telling me, like, I was sitting in the living room and she was like, yo, you ain't come to America to waste no time and skylark here. You know, Caribbean parents
Oh
always
yeah,
want
yeah.
education. Yeah, that's So I was like, man, I know I always wanted to do something, but then I saw an ad for at the time this TV show was like really popular. America's Best Dance Crew,
Yeah.
ABDC,
Yep.
and they had a segment with Swiss Beats where Swiss Beats was making some beats for the groups to dance and see how how well they could choreograph
Yeah.
their movement. And I remember just seeing him in the studio and me already being a big fan of DMX and being
Yeah.
familiar with Swiss Beats and Rough Riders. I'm like, you know what? That's what I want to do. You know? And I told my mom, and she was like, all right, cool, let's look up the school. And she looked up audio school, and that was the first one that came up.
Wow.
And we went on the website and we saw one of the instructors, sorry, he happened to be Trinidadian as well.
Oh yeah. Which one was that?
I think his name is Vernell Rogers.
Vernell Rogers.
Yeah, he used to be there off and on.
Okay.
But he was one of the instructors speaking, and when I saw that, I was like, all right, that's confirmation.
Confirmation right there.
Yeah, I called the school, we did the application. Like you, I only got covered for like about 10 grand, so I still had to pay like
Yeah.
actually I still had to pay out of pocket. But
Yeah.
luckily enough, my godmother, she was the one who covered that bill, every month. She paid like two something for
Man.
that period. And again, bro, like it's just alignment, bro. Like
Yep.
struggling,
Thanks to grandmother, man. Godmother, I mean.
Yeah, shout out to all the grandparents that actually step in, because it's a lot
Yeah.
of grandparents, they just do a lot of virtue signaling. But what that lady in particular, I love that lady, man. She the only one that actually been there and actually,
Yeah.
check for me.
Man, so such a blessing. Yeah, we got to think for all of our old folks, our elders, because they always look out at times where if it's not through actually them giving, it's their prayers, man. They pray hard,
Yeah.
like for a fact.
And prayers do work, my friend. Like,
Oh yeah.
seriously,
Oh
prayers
yeah.
do work. Listen, I'm a full believer. I'm an advocate. I'm a witness. Prayers do work, bro.
Mhm.
It do.
It's such a blessing. We got to give the glory to God for it all, and I'm grateful for us even having this time right now, because we all went through our different tribulations throughout our lives and such, for us to be able to get here and make sacrifices. I'm really looking forward to see where this song goes. I mean, I'm excited for it to come. So definitely be on the lookout for the release. We're definitely gonna be dropping this pretty soon. So just have your ears tuned in and make sure you just like support. And of course, like if you find any inspiration to what we're talking about right now, please do like share it with fellas, because the music is not just music that we just create. We put hours and sweats into it, but there's an inspiration. There's a soul that's behind it. There's a spirit that we're really trying to share, and that's really to encourage people, to inspire people, and help you get throughout your days and throughout your tough times that you are dealing with. That's really the essentials of what music is for. We don't really, well, at least for us, we don't really make music to bang bang shoot people. That's not really our style. And such. So I really hope that you take some inspiration for this. So the Shoy, man, I really appreciate us chatting. Thank you for being vulnerable and opening up. And I'm so grateful. I'm looking forward to everything else we're gonna be doing in the future, not just with this song, but for all to come. So thank you, man. So peace, and look forward to see you next time, man.
Yes, I.
One more thing. Socials. How can people connect with you?
Okay, so I got my Instagram. It's SHOY, the number one DER, Shoy Wonder. My Facebook is Shoy Phillip, SHOYPHILLIP. Yeah, that's pretty much. I'm very active on those two. My YouTube, Shoy Phillip. I'm working on that. But if you want to see more content and interact with me more directly, you can do it through either Instagram or Facebook.
Sweet. Sounds good. Sure.
Yeah.
Right. See you next time, man. Peace.
Yes, sir. Give thanks.
All
Yeah,
right.
man. Yeah, man.
Cool.
Yeah.